Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our trading show, the Betfair Trading Show, with me, your host Martin, and of course Ryan Carruthers there waiting in the wings. How are you, Ryan?
I am buzzing. How are you?
Yeah, good man. Looking forward to the special question you ask every week. So let's just start off with that, shall we?
Do you know what? This has become one of I love this. So I just see Jonathan has commented as well. This has become one of the highlights of his week. This question has become one of the highlights of my week, trying to think of a question and watching other bits where I can steal one. So, and also like getting when the members message me and they're like, oh, I'd love hearing that chat between you and Martin. It's even better than some of the trading chat.
Yeah.
I love that. So today's question, I really struggled to pick because I had two that I liked. But okay, if you could live the life of any footballer, past or present, who would it be? Now, before you answer, I want two answers because I want one from your terrible team, Norwich, and also one from just worldwide football. And as always, guys, in the comments below, tell us who you would want to live the life as a footballer from your team and around the world. So, Martin, off you
I'll let
go.
you. I'll let you go first because I'm going to need to think about this.
Well, yeah, but I already know. Oh, this question's really difficult because my first, like, world football, the first thought that come into my head was like Xabi Alonso or Andrea Pirlo because they're just so cool, aren't they? Like not only were they absolutely amazing, like amazing at football, they're just cool, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't be the ones that sprung to my mind. Are they? Are they? So that's your Liverpool one and
No,
something else.
no, I don't, well, yeah, I mean Liverpool one, right? Part of me is leaning towards like if I get to live the life of a footballer, part of me leans towards Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
That's
Why?
so random.
Why are you frowning?
Yeah, you have such random answers to these things.
He's engaged
They're
to
always
Perry
left field.
Edwards.
I thought you'd say something like Steven Gerrard. I like that it's left field. I just know something random's coming.
But he's like, he lives with Perry Edwards from Little Big.
Yeah,
Like
but I mean, most footballers have girls at their feet, don't they? Let's be
they
honest.
do, yeah. So yeah, I think if you're making me lock in an answer, I'm going to lock in one, let you answer, and then come back on the other one. So I am going to go with. You see, I didn't even. I'm thinking back as well. Like back before football got serious, and
Yeah,
I'm thinking players that sort of moved that were a superstar at teams like Bolton or Shrewsbury or the kind of smaller towns got picked up by a
yeah.
bigger team, became a star. They'd get like the keys to the city. So, no, I am going to lock in Xabi Alonso for Liverpool.
Well, that's random. Why though? What's happening in his life
Why
that's so amazing?
just like, so firstly, right, look at him. He's just cool. He is so cool. And then also just the way he reads the game, the way he plays football. I've been very, very fortunate to see Xabi Alonso play in real life, which always reminds me, like having kids now. Well, a kid, Bluey, the TV show. Have you seen this,
Yeah,
Martin? Oh, how
yeah.
good is Bluey, by the way? But now every
It's all
time I
right.
say in real life, I feel like Bluey saying it. I've watched the movement, the anticipation of that bloke, he was always 2 or 3 steps ahead of the game and he would always be in the right place, pick the ball up. And some of the passes he made, it's just, yeah, he's just cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I'm locking him in. I can't wait to hear what you say, and also some of the people watching this, whether you're watching it live or not.
So we pick one person from our team, from our club, and then one person just randomly.
Yeah, just one other footballer that you would love to live their life.
I've got one from my club. There's a couple that spring to mind with Norwich. One that I would have said 100% if he hadn't had a terrible managerial stint at the club, which kind of turned sour his legacy almost. But Brian Gunn, what a legend he was back in the day. Brian Gunn. I used to love Brian Gunn. He used to come out onto the pitch. So he's the goalkeeper for Norwich, for anyone who doesn't know. And he's like a legend in the Norwich area. He still lives there and stuff. But I remember he used to come out for every game. He used to jump up and try and headbutt the goalpost at the top, the crossbar. I always said I thought that was him trying to knock some sense into himself. But no, I loved it. And he actually came to our school at one point because he got made the sheriff of Norwich. I mean, who knew that Norwich was in the Wild West and it needed a sheriff? To keep law and order in Norwich, you need a sheriff.
Who was his deputy?
I don't know, but I think it's like something to get given for a year or two. And he came into the school. He's in one of my classes. We were speaking to him. It's just so random. But then he did have a terrible managerial stint at the club, which lasted on the second season. He kind of came in towards the end of one season. We got relegated, and then the second season we had one game. He lost 7-1 at home to Colchester in League One. And some supporters ran onto the pitch and threw their season ticket cards at his feet. It was brilliant. And then he got sacked after one game. Yeah, Jesus of the season.
Christ.
I don't know how often that's ever happened before. It was amazing. But I say if I got to lock one in, I'm going to go Craig Bellamy.
Oh, yes.
Because I kind of always love to live the life, because I'm quite a diplomatic person, as you know, Ryan. And I'm always level-headed about thinking what I say to people and stuff like that. So I kind of have an alter ego idea where I'd love to just be like Bellamy and go out there and just do whatever the hell you want, speak to people however the hell you want, just be like this little terrier character that people don't really want to mess with either. Plus, he had a decent career. He played at Liverpool, Man City.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what? I saw him play away at Blackburn, and Liverpool were terrible, like terrible. And I was behind the goal 10 rows up. He went freaking mental at the fans for giving him some stick.
Yeah,
I mean proper mental.
He just didn't care. So I think that there's something freeing about people who don't really care about anything and let people sort of push them about or anything. So yeah, I think that's the one I'd choose.
And you reckon I go left field on mine? Yeah. That was left
field. My next one's going to be very left field. But let's go through some comments, then we'll go on to the second one. So Tim here says, I always seem to miss these sessions for some reason or another. Well, today you're here. Well, you were here at 7 too, so hopefully you're still here and you were able to make the session. We've already had Jonathan's comments. Looking forward to this. Michael, we're glad to have you alongside us here. Andrew, another one looking forward to this all week. Wow, jeez. We're having an impact. Don loves Bluey, Ryan.
Mom! So good, that show. I love it.
I think I need to work on your karaoke version, Ryan. I wasn't sure. I thought it was going to be BNBN.
Yeah, I love that as well.
You want to be savvy.
Oh,
what needs to happen? Well, that's the question Ryan asks.
I love
what needs to happen for that to become reality. My sister trained as a nurse, and apparently where they had problematic patients, slightly odd or not with it, they'd write on the notes NFN, which stood for normal for Norwich. Well, Was she working in Norwich? If not, that is
Oh.
it. That is offensive. Unless they're in Ipswich, then it's kind of normal. Still here, put Tim, good lad.
Yeah, and also a ridiculously good commentator, Ali McCoist, as well.
So Andrew's put from my team would be Ali McCoist, goal scoring legend and ladies man. Just for the benefit of those listening later on podcast. Yeah, I mean he's had a life, hasn't he, old Ali McCoist?
Oh yeah, I mean that
What
bloke
hasn't
knew
he
where the
done?
goal was.
Till he moved to Sunderland.
Yeah. So here's a side question then. So you mentioned Craig Bellamy, and something that really, really interests me about, oh my God, Mark, it's countrywide. They use normal for Norwich. Jesus. Whoa.
Disgraceful. Norwich is a great place.
Norwich is wicked. I like it.
There's far more weird people in other parts of the country I've visited. I'll tell you that for free.
Like Spalding.
Well, I can't mention any names myself.
Yeah.
Ryan lives in Spalding, so it's
I'm miles away from Spalding. So we watch a lot of football as traders and we observe loads of different things. So side question, do you think it's easier to rein somebody with aggression in or to try and get aggression into a footballer?
What? So they already got it, or can you teach it?
Yeah. So have they already got it, and is it easy? So Craig Bellamy, right?
Well, I think it's it's a part of your personality. I don't think you can make someone into a Craig Bellamy type. You can try and fake it, but it won't really work because your heart won't be in it.
Yeah, I agree. As you look at, like, imagine if Emile Heskey had Craig Bellamy's aggression.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a legend. He was like a big tank of a man, wasn't he?
Good old Heskey. He's a good player, Heskey, back in the day.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But imagine, he always seemed to have that bit between his teeth was missing, wasn't it? And if he had that, I mean, he was probably knackered from carrying Michael Owen for a couple of seasons. But if he had that bit between his teeth, he probably would have been. That's why I really love Darwin Núñez.
Yeah.
Because he's just a madman. Oh, no, Dan, you're still moving there. Dan, is this a cry for help? Do you want us to do something, like try and help you about this? Like, are you being forced to move there, or? So,
should we get on with the second ones, Ryan?
Yeah. Who are you going with?
Do you want me to do my second one first then?
Yeah, I need to buy some time, I think.
Okay. Mine, for me, absolute legend of the game. One of my favourite personalities in sports history, Vinnie Jones. What a legend, Vinnie Jones. I told you it'd be left field.
Oh, man.
What a legend, Vinnie Jones. And look, he's in one of my favourite films of all time as well, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Great film.
I think he's in Snatch as well. Two brilliant films, especially Lock, Stock. And to go on and have the kind of career he did and just be that ultimate hard man, you know. I love the fact that he just didn't mess with it. It's a bit like the Craig Bellamy thing, really. He just didn't mess with him. And again, he would just say what he thought and, you know, he wouldn't put up with any rubbish, would he, old Vinnie Jones? And I think he's been in about 70 films or something now. So I think he lives out in LA and he's done pretty well with his life. So I think that would be my one if I could live a football. I guess from the old generation, if I was thinking older, you know, before my time, really, George Best.
Yeah.
Because he was just so universally loved. He had all the women, had all the drink, you know. So, and, you know, what a life they used to live back then because they didn't care about sports science or anything, did they, in those days? Nope. But yeah, so Ryan, who's yours?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to go with Ronaldinho.
Oh.
Yeah, I just think, you know...
Didn't he end up in jail?
Did he? Well, even better then. Like, that's a whole life. But just, I just find that he's just fascinating. You know, he's part of that amazing Brazil team, and he was a key part of that team. But the skill he had with the ball at his feet, just imagine jinxing past players and just going past them with ease and scoring absolute worldies and pulling off so many amazing skills in an amphitheater like the Nou Camp. You know,
Yeah.
that's like, that just sort of sparks Russell Crowe, are you not entertained vibes in my brain. So, yeah, that's where I'd go, like Ronaldinho and Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Great question, that. I love that.
That was good. Tim says, I suppose it depends who you grew up with. Gary
Yep.
Lineker springs to mind. Oh, he's done all right, hasn't he? And Tony Cascarino. Hear him a lot on TalkSport.
Yeah.
From my local team, Gillingham, both had good careers after football. He's well into his betting and poker as well as the old Cascarino. So he'd definitely get on well with us.
Isn't Thingy as well? Remember Sorensen? Was it not Sorensen? Who was the Danish midfielder for Everton? Was it Stig Tofting? Is it the other guy? The other hard one. The bald one. He's made like 150 million playing poker.
He wasn't the one who played. That was the one he played for. No, that's not. He wasn't Danish. He was Scottish.
Anyone help us out with this as well? Bald. They had two bald people in the middle of midfield who were proper hard men.
I was thinking of Naismith, but he's Scottish. He played for Norwich at one point.
Yeah.
I think he was on about 80 grand a week.
Wow.
At Norwich. And then we wondered why we got in debt. Thomas Gravison.
Yes.
Thanks, Casper.
So Mark wants Xavi's looks with Ronaldinho's ability. That's a great shout.
Ryan, you're surely not telling me you trade your looks.
Oh, thank you.
They call you the Brad Pitt of Betfair.
Oh, look at you little charmer.
Oh, I'm being sarcastic.
Well, there's, to be honest, mate, there isn't much competition, is there? Like, let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So we've got to get to our big question of the week, actually.
Yeah, instead of us just rambling.
Alex got the Gravison thing as well. Well done. It's amazing how many of the players I've forgotten, actually, from the era that I used to watch religiously. I do some of those quizzes sometimes. We have to try and remember what player played in which team and that year, and trying to get, and you just forget people. You think you'd never forget them and totally forget their name. But yeah, so the question this week is a very simple one, but I think it's a really interesting one. And it is, what is your favorite strategy to trade? So Ryan, I'll let you kick off. What is your favorite strategy to trade and why?
Yeah, before I tell you this as well, for everybody watching, I didn't, like, everyone knows how bad my spelling and grammar is. I didn't write the title of this video. What is your favorite strategy? I didn't do that, by the way. I didn't do that because I get so much heat.
I'm going to say it was you, Ryan.
No, I know you bloody will. But I get so much heat for my grammar and spelling that wasn't me. So this is a great question because it also depends on the time you ask it. So I'm just thinking back to, if you'd have asked me this question 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and now, I'd probably have different answers. So if you'd have asked me 10 years ago, I would have probably said lay the draw. And everybody who knows me, who watched my videos, would probably have guessed that. But now I would say it's my over 1.5 split stake strategy. And the reason why I would say that is because it's really, really easy to find the selections. It's easy to execute the strategy. There's a lot of selections. It's easy to automate. Many of the members have automated it and shared their automation files inside of the forum as well, which is amazing. So they get their selections. So I shared the filter inside BTC. They get their selections daily and they put it into automation and they crack on. And it's profitable. And it fits in with my life as well, because that's one of the things that I don't think traders actually think about. You know, there's so many different aspects and elements to trading that people don't always think about it fitting into their life. I've had many conversations with people, and I can see Andrew's comment as well. You can always tell why when it's one of my emails. Just reply in the comments and let me know why. I think I know, but I'd like that affirming. People get so focused on trading that they want to trade and they see it as the vehicle to get them out of their current situation, whether that's, want to make more money, or they don't like their job, so they'd love to go pro, but they get so het up and focused on a particular sport or a particular strategy that they can't always do, because they might want to trade full time and they go, I'm going to trade the horses. But right now they work Monday to Friday and they don't have time to trade the horses. And then they have a young family, so they can't do the evening races. So it's just crazy to do that. So you need to think about the strategy that actually fits the time that you can trade. And for me, I love my split stake strategy because it's so simple. I haven't automated it. I know I should, but I can do it from my phone. I can do it from my phone. I will automate it because I genuinely I genuinely think that automation is the future of Betfair trading. I really do.
It certainly makes things easier. I got some automation done for my favorite strategy, ironically, this week. But yeah, no, I agree. And I think the beauty of your split stake strategy is that it's so simple to execute. I mean, a lot of my strategies tend to be more, I just enter and look for something to happen and I'll just let the trade run a lot of the time. Whereas this one, you get in, half your stake the first time, half your stake the second time, and then you're greening up or taking a loss if there's no goal at 70 minutes. It's very simple. And I think that's why it's a very good strategy as well, I think, for new traders to start with. Because if you want to learn to trade in play on Betfair, these are the sorts of strategies, not too complex that you're scrambling around fastest finger first, trying to, do all this stuff that loads of new traders do end up trying to do with strategies, and ultimately it doesn't work for them. You got something that's clear, get in at these points, exit at this point, that's done. I mean, how many times has someone asked you, Ryan, and said, oh, yeah, but Ryan, what if this happens? Would you not do something different? And it's like, no, this is the trading plan. You stick to the plan.
Yeah. And you bring up a really good point there as well about that in-play trading. If you want to trade in play, I genuinely, people have fallen out with me, and I don't know why, but for years they get really, really aggressive and angry. They almost get like Craig Bellamy-esque towards me about the fact that I use pre-match stats, and they go, oh, you can't tell anything from pre-match stats. Use pre-match stats, doesn't tell you anything. You need in play. But the way I think about it is, in play trade, if you just pick it, if you're just waiting for a game, you're firing a shotgun at the 3 p.m. kickoffs, for example, and hoping something sticks. That's what you're doing, right? Whereas if you use the pre-match stats, you narrow it down, you're snipering, you're really like getting set. That's what the split stake allows you to do, because like every day I just log into BTC, I get the split stake shortlist. Great. Then I can just go in play and I can check that. Job done. It tells me where I need to be, when I need to be, and it gives me a focus on the games. And yeah, you raise a really, really good point. It's great for new traders. It's great for medium traders. And it's great for traders like me that have been on Betfair since I was 18, and I'm a bloody dinosaur now.
Yeah, and I think what I've noticed as well, like some of the emails I've had this week. I mean, one you shared with us today, actually, Ryan, on our kind of group between me and Adam, that someone had said they'd had success since they joined BetfairTradingCommunity.com. They'd suddenly become a profitable trader from being unprofitable. But every time we get a few of these each week, and every time I look at them, it's nearly always that this person has kept it simple. Yeah. They haven't tried to do anything crazily complex. They haven't been trying to do, I don't know, like one tick scalping, like really trying to do it like, like say go on the horses. Because a lot of traders start on like horse racing and they'll go and do one tick trading, trying to get a tick here and there on horses. And and then they'll come to me and say, oh, this didn't work. I was told to do this on another site. And I'll always say to them, well, when you entered the trade, what was it that made you think the price was going to go your way? And invariably, the answer is, I don't know. It just kind of looked like it might on the graph. So I thought and I was sort of told, just follow the graph. And it's like stuff like that. Whereas I think that stuff's so much harder and more complex. Whereas this is so easy. And I think that's the thing. It's simple, it's easy, and it's effective. And it just seems to work. I'll go on to Tim here. Yeah, I found that concentrating on tennis, as was on at times I was about when working. I really should have read this before reading it. Now I'm not currently working trying to get into football more. Also, tennis trading slows down this time of year. Tim, I'd love some commas or full stops, but no.
Do you know what? That made perfect sense to me.
Yeah,
I could read that perfectly.
This is a Ryan sentence, no full stops or commas. But I do agree. Like, if you can't concentrate on what you're trading, so let's say you are using tennis and you can't concentrate on it, then that's why I love these simple strategies where it's like you've got a set plan, you get in and out at this time. You don't need to be. The amount of traders that sit there and sweat their trades, really sweat. Oh, what am I going to do? When am I going to do it? Oh, is this the optimal time to get in? Is this the optimal time to get out? How am I going to get the absolute best price? And it's like, test your strategy, develop a plan, and then stick with the plan. That's how you know. That's how you know what to do. That's how you know when to enter and exit. So yeah, I think it's a really good strategy. It's good that you're trying a bit more football, Tim. Keep trying the football. I love trading football, as you know. So my favorite strategy, and it's kind of really ramped up recently, partly due to one of the videos I put out and a strategy that someone shared that's been doing incredibly well for me and the community, is trading late goals. Basically, backing another late goal in a football match. I love doing that. I love the strategy. The reason for me is very simple, that when you're trading a late goal, you're getting so much better odds than you are, let's say, if you entered at the start of the match or at the start of the second half, just looking for one more goal. You get such good odds that you don't need a crazy high strike rate. And it's amazing how many matches have goals in those last 15, 20 minutes of a game. And, if you've been following the super late goals strategy that I shared in a video I did last week, it did incredibly well. I think on Sunday, it had like 8 out of 8 games had a goal after 74 minutes. And this strategy just really exemplifies the fact that it can be there's so much value in waiting for opportunities. Like I say, you're going to get such a better price at 75 minutes than you will at 45 minutes. And if you've backed another goal at 45 minutes, say you back at 1.2, if it wins, okay, that's nice. But you need virtually every single trade to win at odds of 1.2, right? It only takes 1 in every 5 to lose and you're down. You've lost money in the long run, even with an 80% strike rate. So, yeah, I think that late goals for me is my favorite strategy. I think that if you haven't looked into that as well, and especially if you're someone who wants to get in on a match, if you want to get in on a trade, but you don't necessarily know when to exit a trade, I think this is what's good with this, is that we're getting in play. This isn't a pre-match strategy. This is very much getting in later on in a game. And essentially, you can make good profit because you're getting much better odds than you would at the start of the first half. I don't know if you heard any of that. Did you, Ryan?
I heard that it was the late goal strategy and why you get in.
I just love late goals. The value you can get from the bigger prices, the fact you don't need a crazy high strike rate, but the amazing amount of late goals you get in matches. And when you use the software on BetfairTradingCommunity.com, again, like you said, narrowing that field, basically getting rid of all the crappy leagues where the late goals aren't expected, and then you go for the leagues that are. It's amazing how many of those games have late goals. You almost come to expect it, half the time to happen. So
but
yeah,
there's a great point, Martin. You say you come to expect it, but let's just unpack that a little bit, because I think it's really, really important, like that for the listeners, that you almost come to expect it. But what you've done is a process right now. You've started to build an idea for a strategy. You've started to look at that strategy, test it, test your entry points, and you found it. So you say, I've come to expect it, but all it is just a circle for me. It's like you came up with the idea for the strategy, you tested it, you got the data for it, and then you went back round and round and round. So you build, and you say this a lot about confidence in your selections. You come to expect it, but you've got that confidence in your selection, because you've done the work for it, and you start to get that feel for it, don't you, of when it will actually be a profitable trade.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that, I know I mentioned about confidence in your strategies, but it's so key, because so many people, like you say, they have that kind of scattergun approach. They're just picking a game, they like the look of the in-play stats, they haven't really researched the game, and they're going and trading it, and then they're wondering why it doesn't work. Or they don't follow guidelines that I set out on my own strategies, and then they pick selections that I never would have traded in a million years, and then they wonder why it didn't work. So it's really key, I think, with these strategies, that you're getting that initial shortlist from BetfairTradingCommunity.com software. And that is the essential first step as a trader to working out which matches are actually worth trading. You need to get that solid shortlist, because if you're just looking at every single game every day, and then you're going, well, if this happens, I'm going to trade that game, regardless of what league it's in, regardless of what the previous stats of those teams have been, regardless of X, Y, and Z, then, there's no wonder it doesn't work. And when you have thoroughly tested things, that's how you can start to have some confidence. You kind of know, well, this is going to turn around. You might have a bad run. You go, well, this is going to turn around because this bad run happened during testing, and it still was a profitable strategy. So yeah, I think that stuff's really key. And that's probably my favorite strategy for this one here.
I'd love to know some of the guys watching this, guys and girls, whether it's live or, later on as a replay. What are your favorite strategies? Just like, I'd just love to see what people are doing and why they love that strategy, why it works for them. I think
exactly.
Great.
And I was thinking with other sports as well. So for me, horse racing, the strategy I love in horse racing is dobbing.
I
know we talk about it a lot, so I'm not going to labor it here, but I love the idea of you're making a trade, you're backing at higher odds, you're basically trying to lay at half the odds. And you know that if you can have a win rate of over 50%, you will make a profit. And again, it's not overly ambitious, is it, to try and get a strike rate over 50%? It's not one of these going, well, I need to have a strike rate of 90% or I'm not going to make any money. So I think it's really easy to track and see the statistics of that as well, because we all know what 50% is, right? We all know what half is. Whereas when you're looking for 65%, you might go, well, how many do I need to win? How many on average do I need to win? And things like that. Or, let's say you need 37%. It's such an easy number to work with, 50%. And I also think, again, it's a bit like your split stake, Ryan, where it's very easy. You've got an entry point. You pre-make the exit point. So you can have that set up to go in play. And then if your horse hits that target, you green up. And if not, you lose the stake. But you know that you only need to make more than 50%. Now, again, the step you take is then to go into the BetfairTradingCommunity.com horse software, create a strategy, look at the historical data of horses that have dobbed and how many times they're dobbing. I mean, that's one of the most basic horse racing strategies that people start out with. And that's definitely my favorite. Probably, if I was thinking about other sports, my favorite strategy in terms of horses. I don't know if you've got any others, Ryan, from other sports that you can think of that spring to mind.
I mean, I echo your comments on the dobbing as well. And you think about, we've already touched upon it, but the mentality of trading is so hard. So that's why dobbing works really, really well, because if you're a horse racing trader, when you said about people getting this one tick in and out for one tick, it just flashed me back to when I used to pre-race trade. And I just remember just seeing the Fairbot ladder, just like 3 or 4 horses. And you're like, wow, that one's going. It's like erratic. I feel like I'm Craig Bellamy. I'm like, okay, is that one going down? That one's going up. So which is like, if one's going down, one's got to go up. Which is the one go? And am I on that? Oh my God, it's terrible. But if you think about another reason why I love dobbing is when you lose a trade and you need a strike rate, if you know your strategy, you've got to win a lot. Okay. If you lose a trade, you're running around looking for the next one straight away. Where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one? To try and get that money back. But with dobbing, because you know your strike rate needs to be low, when you actually do lose a trade, it doesn't matter. So you're not running around looking for the next trade. And also, if you've automated that, you won't even know. Like, you might be at work, you might be out shopping with the wife or the kids, and you'll just be like, yeah, I don't even know if that horse did dob or not. And you might look on the Racing Post, for example, and you can get like the in-running low data on that, but you don't know whether your stake got matched. So if your horse wins or losses, it's a win or a losing horse, then you can get that data quick on the racing app. So you might check the app when you're out. You might not know with dobbing until you log into the computer or you log into Betfair, which I like. I like that. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing as well, like, that I like about a lot of these strategies. Like you say, they're so easy to set up and automate,
so
that you don't have to sit there, like I say, sweating your selections.
I love that, sweating your selections.
And then, well, think about how many people do we see that come through, even, when they're starting out Betfair Trading Community.com, maybe even not starting out, maybe been around a while, they're still sweating every single trade they place. One bad trade almost throws them totally. And you're thinking, well, put some perspective on it. You're going to trade thousands of matches in your career. Mm-hmm. One result is not going to be the be-all, end-all of you. The only way in hell it ever could be is if you're using ridiculously high stakes per trade or overstaking.
Which a lot are. But then that leads into the key difference between, and I can usually, this is what I try to get people to do, and some people just naturally do it, is the difference between the winning traders and the losing traders. The ones that make it is the long term. They take a long term view. They focus on winning, and losing traders focus on winners. So a losing trader is focusing on the winner. That next trade has got to win. It's got to win. For me to carry on with this, I've got to get a winner. And that puts you into a fight or fright state all the time. So you're scared. You're overstaking because maybe the last trade lost. So you're going to put some more money on to get this one up, to get back to where, because you're focusing on, you've got to get that winner. But if you switch that around and you focus on winning, as in winning at the game of Betfair, it just flips the perspective and go, oh, I can do this longer term because I'm focusing on winning the game, which is to become a profitable trader. So then that gives you runway. It gives you space to go, do you know what? I don't need to win this next trade. It doesn't need to be a winner. But I've wrote that down, sweating your selections. I'm going to do, I think if you're subscribed to the BTC YouTube channel, you're going to see a video in the next few weeks about sweating your selections, because
that'd be good.
I think I can get quite animated about that, and I can put some actions to my video, which I don't sit still, do I? I noticed that you sit very still, Martin, and you're Very.
Well, I get very restless legs though. You should see my legs, like, twitching. But Tim said here, the important thing is to give whatever you're doing a chance to work before you dismiss it. Tennis trading took me 6 to 12 months to be consistent in my approach. I mean, that is golden, because how many people actually give themselves 6 to 12 months to learn how to trade? I wish every trader would do that, because so many people come in, give themselves a month, and if they haven't aced it within a month, they're gone. Yeah. And I just think, what was the point? Because you haven't learned whether you're any good at trading or not. You haven't learned whether this is something you could do as a career, or even something just to make part-time extra money on. You've got no idea after a month. Imagine if you wanted to be a doctor and you went to training for a month, and then they went, well, you're not a doctor yet. And you went, well, forget it then. I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm not saving anyone's life.
No one would think that was a rational response in any other career they attempt to pursue. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to be a footballer when you were younger, imagine if you played when you were 7, you played for a month, didn't get in the team, then you went, well, forget it then, I'm off.
Yeah.
What do you know? You don't know if you're going to be a decent footballer.
Tom Brady's a great example of that, isn't he?
Well, yeah, exactly. It could have easily gone undrafted as well, Brady.
I know. And now look at him.
Yeah, exactly. So give it time. Give yourself a chance. If you really do want to get good at Betfair trading, give yourself a chance, because not enough people do.
I'm a big fan of this comment. Big fan of this comment.
And then you read it out.
So is that because there's no commas in it?
No.
So, over 1.5 goals, second half for me is going well, and a variation of Ryan's later draw, where I wait for the home team to be controlling the game with shots, etc., before entering. So the reason I love this, there's a few reasons, but the main one is I've given a profitable strategy that works for me, and so many people just want a strategy. They're just looking for the holy grail of a strategy. You give me the strategy and I'll do it, which doesn't always work, because we're going to go through so many different things mentally, just thoughts. Like you say, with sweating the trade. I'm not going to be sweating my later draw because I've done the work to research it and test it. What Jonathan's done here really, really well is take the best bits of my strategy and apply his own layer, his own filter over the top of it that makes it work for him. So now he's taken that idea of what I do, and he's applied his own logic and his own thought process to it. And now he's got something that's working. And I love that.
Yeah. And we've actually seen a lot of it this week with people adapting. I did a video on it a couple of days ago. Someone had adapted one of my strategies and improved it. And I'm actually getting messages every day at the moment with people sending me strategies that they've basically adapted mine or your versions and improved them. And I'm loving it, because I'm like, great. There's a better version of my strategy. I don't have to release a 2.0 version. Someone else has improved it and done better with it themselves. But this is the way to go about it. What I always say, when people can't find a strategy, or they're not sure where to start creating a strategy or how to start creating a strategy, I say, look, the first thing you should do is take a good strategy that we share as your foundation, and then look at it. Is there any tweaks you can make? I mean, you could just use that strategy and learn from that and test that way. Or you could do some tweaks, improve it, or maybe try in a different market, see if there's an adaptation that can be made. You're going to have a lot better chance of success using a strategy with a foundation that works and then working from that than you are just kind of, trying to pin the tail on the donkey of a strategy where you just guess from thin air. I mean, look, if you're able to go, and a lot of people do this, if you're able to make up your own hypothesis and go, well, I think this tends to happen in matches, so I'm going to I think games where there's 5 shots or more in the first 20 minutes are likely to go over 2.5 goals. Therefore, I'm going to test that strategy. Then that's great. You've got a hypothesis. It makes sense. Test it and see if it works. Will it work? I've got no idea. And neither of you. But that's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with testing strategies. But at the same time, you're doing that, you should also, I think, test a strategy that does start from a solid foundation, so that you know you've got something to fall back on if it doesn't end up working itself. But yeah, I mean, I think that's about it, Ryan, for today's episode. Have you got anything else you want to say?
I'd just like to add, you mentioned there about, I've got no idea. Please stop saying to me, like, unpack something. Don't just go, is it better? It comes back to sweating your trades. Is it better to trade over 1.5 or 2.5 goals? I haven't got a clue. What I can do is, when you've done the data for that, you've done the work for that, I can help you analyze that. And I know that there's fear because you don't want to be wrong, but I would much rather you get it wrong and you've got 200 rows on a Google spreadsheet. If you've got 200 rows on it, and then I don't know. I don't have all of the answers to which strategy, which market is better. All I can say is that any market can work for you. Any market can work for you if you apply yourself to that market, to that strategy, to that idea. That's that's probably my final comment.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It all comes down to maths as well. I mean, someone said to me the other day, I'm a bit worried. I've got a strategy. It makes £6 per trade when it wins, but it loses £10 per trade when it loses on average. But the strategy is making profit every month. There's nothing to worry about then. If your strategy is making profit, it doesn't matter if your average loss is 10 and your average loss is 6, because you're clearly getting better than 60% win rate that you would need to make a profit at those figures. That's ultimately what matters with Betfair Trading. So as long as you're comfortable with the liabilities you're using and things like that, there's absolutely no reason not to trade the market or system or strategy that works for you. Beach Games TV has got a little tip for us, Ryan. Woking versus Oxford over 2.5.
Enjoy. I also see that Beach Games TV is subbed to the channel as well, which I love, because we love that. I don't get it. It's like, I think one of the big life mysteries is why we haven't got as many subscribers on YouTube as some of the other people, because I think we are more entertaining.
I think the problem is I don't really promote subscription that much. I always forget. I need to tell people I'll subscribe, because not only obviously is it free for everyone to do, but it massively helps you get the actual videos in front of you. Because the amount of questions I get, and someone will say, "Oh, Martin, how do I do this?" Or "Can you help me with this?" And I'll say, "I literally have a YouTube video on that 2 days ago." I can send them a link, but obviously if they've subscribed, they'll get the notification, and Bob's your uncle there. So guys, try and subscribe. We want to get to 10K as well before the end of the year. We're not too far off now, so hopefully we can get there. And also need an acceleration.
Yeah, but subscribing is like an action you can do to get better at trading, because by subscribing to this channel, you're saying, yes, I want to get better at trading. You're committing, you're taking some steps. Tim Porter agrees, as he commented on the other video. I think that might have been one of mine, Tim, where I went on a little bit of a 30-second rant about how we should have 100,000 YouTube subscribers. I like Mark.
One day. It's growing. We are growing quick.
So, yeah.
We're growing quick. We're getting more content out there as well, which is clearly going down well.
Do you just BTC with Pyro?
We do. I've said to Ryan about getting a BTC intro. Having a proper intro.
Maybe we should both go. Maybe we should meet up in Spalding and do it. I'm not actually hating on Spalding all the time. It's just funny now because of how it came up.
Why don't we just meet in? I mean, you're such a big Liverpool fan, Ryan. I imagine you're up here every week, aren't you, for the games?
Man, because you're that way, aren't you?
Yeah, it's close to me, Liverpool. Literally down the road.
Yeah.
Oh. He disappeared there. Okay, guys, we're going to call it there. Don't touch crypto at the moment. Beach Games.
Don't touch it.
Honestly, don't go near it. we get some fake accounts sometimes. I don't know if you know about this, Ryan. Some fake
Oh
account
my God, yeah, it's
comments
driving me mad.
to people and tells them to do crypto, and it looks like it's us because it
And
says
it
like
gets
BTC on it.
it tells them to get in a Telegram group as well, which we don't have a Telegram.
Yeah. If you ever get asked to get in Telegram, it's not us.
Yeah.
And if you ever get told to invest in crypto from us, that's not what kind of trading we do.
No.
But if you want stocks advice, just get on the forum and ask. We could give you some stocks. I've got a few stocks. I know you have as well, Ryan, that have been doing well, even in these tough times. Stone cold walking music. I like the idea of that.
I like that as well. I do.
Oh, I'll tell you what as well, we're going to discuss today in our meeting, Ryan, the Christmas party.
Oh,
BTC
yeah.
Christmas party. So we need to get that. So hopefully next week we'll have a date for you guys and you can put that in your calendar for us having a Christmas party. We'll try and get Adam on that one as well.
Yeah, agreed.
And, it'll be good to hang out and have a party with you. All right, guys, I'm going to call it there. And I hope you have a great week. And most importantly, I hope you make some money trading on Betfair this week.